decided to do a little maintenance today. All three guns had problems. This one, I fixed the burr on it, but when I got to cleaning it, it turns out there was clear caught inside these large air holes on the air cap. And so it had a weird pattern, but it's a pretty straight pattern now. On my Cobalt, same problem, had clear up inside there. It was a good pattern except that it was just slanted. This one here has pulsating because the air orifice piece under the air cap here, it seals to the outer side before the inner part seals to seal off the air from the fluid path. And so air is leaking into the fluid path, making it go put, 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 put. And if I really crank it down, it will work, but it's still not right. So on the orifice part here, this tapered seat seals against this outer part before this inner tapered seat seals down inside there. And if you look at it really close, you can see, oh yeah, you can see brass on one side, but as you continue to turn it, you can see that, oh yeah, it's not making contact right there. So you're wondering, how would I test for that? Well, it's pretty easy. All I do is I put a little paint thinner in my cup, grab my air source, plug it onto my paint gun, and then I just stick it down in there and see the bubbles pulsing. See, that is air leak into the fluid path. Now on this one, because that thing is misaligned, if I really crank it down, I hate doing this, but if I really crank this cap down, I mean way beyond what you would consider normal, to the point of almost, I think I'm going to strip it out and ruin the paint gun. Alright, let's see what happens here. Steady delivery, no bubbles. So we'll try the same test with the Cobalt. What we'll do is we'll just pour the paint thinner in the top here, and by the same token, we should not see any air bubbles in that fluid path. And it's perfect. So if you'll recall, this Master Pro, as I said before, has sort of an uneven pattern. So if air is getting into the fluid path, as you're painting, it's going to be putting paint and no paint, paint and no paint, and it might even be some sort of weird little pattern as the bubbles come through. It's going to, wherever it's dry will make you recoat it, and wherever it's wet is going to mottle. So if the paint delivery is not smooth and perfect, then you won't get a good pattern. And it doesn't matter how expensive your gun is, if the fluid path is being interrupted by bubbles, you're going to get mottling and weird pattern and a bad paint. So here we go. We're going to test the Master Pro here and see if it's okay. Get the bubbles out of it that are already there. Come on. Okay, here we go. Ah, see that? So that's why this gun has a poor painting pattern. It's got an air leak into the fluid path. Cannot have that under any circumstances. Now I know that why I like this gun so much better. Okay, let's pull this one apart real quick. And let's see if we can determine where our problem is. Wow, that was good and tight. I haven't even paid that much attention to this gun yet. Is this where I can run into trouble right here? Is with this gasket not being compressed enough. Because it looks like we have a fluid path in here. No, that's not where it is. See, it's the same problem that my little gun has. If you look in the back there, there is a tapered seat, and this portion of this cap is supposed to seal supposed to tighten down like that and seal against that inner ring. Now, if the thickness of all of this stuff is stopping it from sealing back there, then I'm going to get air in my fluid path. So I need a way to measure that. Let's take a quick measurement here. I don't know what else I could do. Maybe an O-ring. Let's see, what's the size? No, there's not enough room for an O-ring in there. Okay, I'm going to try the same trick. I'm just going to reef it. And let's try it again. See, I still have bubbles. Okay, that begs the question. I just have to try this. Let's get out the 1.4 nozzle and put the 1.4 nozzle pieces in there. And where are we going to end up? So, here we go. I'm just going to tighten it down the normal amount first, which is just tight enough. Okay, here we go. It's even worse. Okay, let's crank it down again. Alright, we'll see if that lessens it. Yeah, it does. But it's still there. So you see the problem. And so I can't use this gun because of this. I machined this face of the plastic piece. Not that much, but it was actually warped quite a bit. So let's find out if that doesn't fix the problem. I sure hope so. I could send this gun back as defective, but I've used it so much now. Nope. Still have bubbles. There is a flaw in the aluminum in there somewhere. So, I don't know. Is it a porosity of the aluminum? I am just flabbergasted at this point. I can't see anything wrong with it. There's no leak until the fan control opens up. Okay, so that's actually a fault in the gun. I should have tested that before. It would have saved a lot of screwing around. So that's main air through there. This is fan control. Fan control comes from there. Oh, you know what it is. Okay, so the flaw with this gun. I can tell you right now what's going on. You see that brass piece right there? goes into the gun and it seals to the main housing right there. That's where the leak is. You open up the fan control, it pressurizes that spot right there and sends air in past that brass tube that's inserted into the aluminum. If you look at it, there's an inside Allen wrench and an outside Allen wrench. So the chrome one, that's what I've got going right here, that takes this fitting off. And then there's an inside one to take that inside fitting out. And somewhere in there, there's a leak in this gun. So I got it apart. They used a thread locker blue on this, so you got to use heat to loosen it up. Otherwise, you'll just end up stripping out the Allen there, and you'll never get it apart. If you look at it like this, you can tell that that seat down there all the way in the bottom, although roughly cut, has not had any pressure on it. So it is not, this tapered seal had some sort of glue around it. But you can tell that this tapered seal has never been actually seated against the bottom of that cavity. So it was going to leak no matter what. Now maybe it passed QA because they put glue around it, but you know, I start cleaning this gun with lacquer thinner and it just softens the glue up and then it's got a leak. So now the next question is, why won't this tighten up? Okay, so it's going almost a full turn down further. Wow. I'm going to tighten that down there now. Okay, I tightened it up to the bottom and I don't see any print on that taper. So that begs the question, where it stopped turning. So what made it stop turning? Did I run out of threads? Wow. If you look at that, you can see that where it's touching is up on the top edge right here. You can see where it's shiny. So as it's hitting up there, before it ever gets down into the taper, and I've machined it. I'm testing it now. So I'm ready to see what happens. I don't need to put the whole thing together. I just need to get some fluid in here. Ah, it comes out around there too. So I've got no way of knowing until I put it all back together. It's coming out around the threads. I think I have it machined properly, but in order to know, the threads have to be sealed. Okay, one of the other things that could help it seal is the seal between these two pieces as well. Okay, so here we go. We will just, okay, don't know how this is going to work. I sure hope so. And now, more thread locker. Testing again. Okay, now let's see if this gets rid of the last of the problems. Yeah, I always pull the trigger when I'm putting my fluid cap back on, because I don't want to be spinning the needle inside the cap and just giving it that much more wear. Okay, last test. This should be it. There it is. Perfect. So, full pressure. Let's fill that up and walk over and see what the pattern looks like on the wall. Ooh, nice. Ha! What a difference. So, in summary, I had to, okay, what do they call those parts? The fluid inlet and the fluid passage. So, this is the fluid inlet, and the passage is the brass part that seats down inside. So I had to machine that seat in order to, and all I did was I just took a drill that was a little larger, and I finally got that little burr out of there, out of the top, the one I was trying to get with the file. And so I got rid of that burr and then tightened that brass fitting down in there and got thread locker blue sealed around the passage, and then more thread locker blue around this, sealed up to the between the inlet and the passage, and now I have no bubbles coming through. So this gun is now good to go. So now, by golly, makes me want to try painting with this one, just to see the difference. It made all the difference in the world on the pattern on the wall. Unbelievable difference. Wow, that's really good. Okay. Alrighty, so this gun, the gun maintenance is now complete. Wow, what a chore that turned out to be. This gun had 3 problems. One caused by me, that was the clear running into one of these air holes and plugging it off. Well, it didn't really plug it off, but it was just restricting it. There was a burr inside one of these 16 thousandths holes that was causing a pattern to be weird. And the big fault was air bubbles in the paint path causing uneven paint delivery to the air cap. This gun ought to paint really, really well now. I hope this helped you. Maybe you've got an old gun hanging out that doesn't paint quite right, and you can do a simple bubble test in the paint path and see if you've got problems inside your gun. Fortunately, my Master Pro came with wrenches and spare parts and whatnot, and that was handy dandy, because this gasket was also leaking. Thanks for watching Don's Manufactory. I'll catch you later.